Hi everybody, welcome back to the Skookum Report. Tonight is part 2 of Tom's story that we started last night. And last night's episode was a hunter gets escorted out of the woods by Bigfoot in Pennsylvania. And this is part 2, sort of a continuance of that. And it's our friend Tom, and he writes, in the spring of 2020, I went turkey hunting off of the same trail, the trail that I spoke about in part 1. It was pitch black in the morning, about an hour and a half before sunrise. The spot that I intended to hunt was still probably about 100 to 150 yards farther down the trail. As I was quietly walking, I heard what I thought was another turkey hunter who started to hit a very bad owl call. Hunters use owl calls in the morning to try to get turkeys to gobble off the roost so that they know where to sit. So it wasn't too strange to hear a guy using an owl call, but he wasn't using it to make a turkey gobble. He was using it to tell me, hey, I'm already hunting here, so you're going to have to leave. I had already come a long way just to get where I was, so instead of leaving, I decided to just sit down right there and not go any further. This guy kept hooting his owl noise as I was getting situated next to the tree that I had chosen, and to me his call didn't sound like a store-purchased owl call. It sounded like he was doing it with his mouth. And as the sun came up, I gently started to do a hen yelp, and this guy started hooting his owl sound at me all over again. He sounded very annoyed that I was still there. He never once hen yelped, which is normally what a hunter would do at first light. I thought, what a horse's ass. You're never going to get a turkey just hooting like an owl. But you want me to leave? I waited about a half an hour and I yelped again. This time the guy started to hoot like an owl and then switch it up and call like a crow. With his mouth. These weren't calls he was using. He basically would switch from an owl to a crow over and over. He sounded like he was very agitated. It sounded like, hoo, call, call, call. Hoo, call, and so on, just over and over again. And I started to get a little uncomfortable that this guy wasn't very stable. I was hunting public land, and anyone is allowed to hunt anywhere, so he had no right to try to push me off. At 7:30 in the morning, I decided that I wasn't going to anger this guy anymore, and I got up and left. I went back up the trail the way I had come. I hunted the rest of the week and never heard one turkey gobble the whole week. My mind kept going back to this guy in the woods who was yelling at me by hooting like an owl and crowing like a crow. Something was really off about it. The fact that he was doing it with his mouth and it sounded so bad. Anyway, the week ended and I went home. And for the whole next week at work, it just kept bothering me. And I just knew that something was off about this guy. Well, it bothered me so much that I decided to drive 3.5 hours back up to this hunting spot and walk the mile in just to see what the area was like where this guy had been calling from. It was like maybe 60 to 80 yards deeper in the woods off of the hiking trail. I just had a weird feeling that I was going to find something very strange, and I did. As I came to the spot from where he was hooting, I saw that there had been a portable ground blind there that was pitched there, but it had been smashed by a tree. Now, I'm going to put pictures up, a side note here, I'm going to put some pictures up of snapshots of a video that he took in the woods to show you guys what all this stuff looks like that he's explaining. And the portable blind was smashed by a tree. The tree was broken 8 to 10 feet up. Outside of the portable ground blind was a red folding lawn chair. On the other side of the blind, there was another tree which had been broken 7 or 8 feet up towards the blind, but not all the way on top of the blind. The lawn chair looked like it was brand new. It didn't look like it had been sitting in the woods since last year. And I had been hunting this spot at first light on the first Monday morning of the season. And I took a video of this blind on the second Saturday of the season. It seemed like now I had a bunch of clues of what had taken place. And, here's how I put them all together. First of all, no one would set up a blind underneath a tree that was already cracked and leaning as if it was going to fall at any moment right on top of you. So that cracked tree had to have happened after the blind was set up. There had only been one hunting day before the Monday that I was there, which was opening day, Saturday. The chair looked brand new, so I was confident the blind had all been set up in anticipation of, or maybe on the morning of opening day 2020, which again was on a Saturday. The call that I was hearing didn't seem to be done by a store-purchased call. It was done by someone or something's mouth. The blind was certainly salvageable and the chair was brand new. I would say that the total cost for both was probably around $150. Both had been just left there in the woods for me to find on the second Saturday. I think the person who owned the blind probably set up a day or two before opening day, or maybe on opening day, and left it there to hunt out of during the rest of the season, is what I'm guessing. Something big enough to break the one tree at 10 feet up and crack the other tree came across this blind and completely scuttled it. I think that whenever the hunter came back to the site of the blind, he immediately left. He left the blind and the chair as they sat. Look how high off the one tree was broken off. Could a man break a tree that high up? I just don't think so. I think whatever knocked the tree down on top of the blind and cracked the other tree towards the blind is what I heard calling to me on Monday morning. Something about how weird it sounded made me drive 3.5 hours up to PA, walk a mile in the rain back to the spot, and drive back 3.5 hours. That's about 8 hours in total, all by myself, to just look at the spot where this noise was coming from. All this because I thought I was going to find something weird. And I sure did. And I took the video to show what I found. This was the same hiking trail on which I had been followed out so many years before. That was in part 1. There's something strange in the woods of Pennsylvania, and I think it's more prevalent than we suspect. Man, Tom, that's something else, brother. Yeah, I was looking at that video, and I took some snapshots that I'm going to put up here on the video for everyone to take a look at. That tree is definitely... it took something powerful to break and snap that tree off and throw it on the blind like that, and then the other tree to be snapped where it was, just kind of leaning there, waiting to fall. That's something else. Something that was very strong did that, and I have a feeling it was a Bigfoot. What else could it be? And those strange calls, Bigfoots have been known to mimic hunting calls and all kinds of different things, sounds in the woods. But that was a great story, Tom, and I appreciate you sending it in, man. And if anybody has an encounter story they'd like to share and have on the channel, just shoot me an email at skookumreport@gmail.com. That's skookumreport@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to get it up on the channel for you so everyone can listen and enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button and leave a comment and say hi. If you have any ideas for the channel or something you'd like to hear, just let me know. I just want to let y'all know I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time on the Skookum Report. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.